You just abandon any precaution. You know, folks, something could happen here, and if it does, so what?
Hey friends, welcome to Nathan for Us, a Nathan Fielder fan podcast. My name is Kelly.
And hi, I'm Megan.
And today we have a very special guest joining us for the series finale of Nathan for You, Finding Francis. You may know him from Rob and Akiva Need a Podcast, the Seinfeld podcast, 32 Fans, and of course the iconic New Girl Old Guy. It is the titular old guy, no offense. Akiva Wienerkur is here. Akiva, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me. I've been waiting for the call for years, and you waited till the last episode.
Listen, we needed to have a big guest, someone who appreciates Finding Francis as much as we do. And I know you've talked about Nathan Fielder a couple times before. So tell us about your history with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Nathan Fielder, who just got nominated for 2 or 3 Emmy Awards, like literally today
nice.
for the rehearsal.
That's awesome. Well, first of all, you called this the series finale. Like, are we sure? Maybe he'll come back and do a 5th season. Maybe like Netflix will throw a bunch of money at him and it'll do another season. It's probably easier to do a lot of small bits than to do what he's doing on the rehearsal now. So not impossible.
I think he got too famous. Like, I think that he had recorded about 15 additional episodes, but the business owners weren't having it or knew what was happening by the end, and it just became too difficult.
Interesting. So you might have to do them. So listen, this is the exact same issues that Sacha Baron Cohen had doing Borat and then Bruno, right?
Mhm.
And ironically, like Sacha Baron Cohen's most famous character, Ali G, never even made it really to American television because it had become too famous. Oddly, the only person who really ever caught Ali G was Donald Trump, but that's a whole nother story for another day.
Oh, no,
And
we're going to talk about him later in the podcast.
yeah, but yeah, in terms of my Nathan Fielder sort of background, I am probably a day one or week one watcher of Nathan for You. I was hooked probably
Wow.
from the commercials, from the poop flavored yogurt in the first episode, and I was in a real time watcher of all 4 seasons and a diehard fan of the rehearsal. I love the second season of the rehearsal even more than the first, and maybe more than any of the other seasons. But yeah, like I think my bona fides are day one solid Nathan for You watcher. However, like many other shows I enjoy, I have not really seen it since it ended at all. What I like to do, I did this with The Sopranos, which I also watched in real time, and with Seinfeld, which I watched the second half of in real time when I was a kid, is like not look at it at all for a bunch of years, and then you forget it, and it's like kind of like new, like you're semi unspoiled. So I knew how basically how it ended. So I'm going out of order here, but I do think like I am due for a Nathan for You rewatch in the next year or two, maybe with one of my kids or my wife or somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I hadn't seen this episode actually for ages. And yeah, coming back to it, it was like watching it anew again. Though with watching the rehearsal and then watching this again, what a weird experience. I feel like there's so many seeds planted in this episode that will come to fruition later on.
And Megan was asking me if I have a favorite episode. I think the movement where they get them to move is like the one I probably quote the most. I like the hero, which is like the sort of precursor to this, the season 3 finale. But I think, and we'll get into it a lot, I think that this one is a little bit more realistic than that one. I think there's like, I'm a nitpicker when I watch these shows and I think about like what's real and what's fake, and like that has maybe more than this one. Oh, and also the anecdote, the Jimmy Kimmel one. That's a favorite of mine, where he goes to such elaborate lengths just to tell the anecdote on the show. But I love I love there's nary a bad episode. I love Nathan Fielder. I love everything about him. He fascinates me. I've done a lot of long Googles on him, like trying to figure out what's going on in his life. When the show was first coming out. So excited to be talking about him.
Yeah, especially this episode. And because we took a long break And then we did season 1 of the rehearsal, season 2 of the rehearsal, and going back to Nathan For You, especially the episodes, like we started again on the anecdote. And so these last few episodes, I feel like all we can think of is this is how we got to the rehearsal. And especially this one, which will begin finding Frances, a very iconic ending and more of a documentary, could be its own season. But it definitely sets you up for the rehearsal, and you can kind of see where all the seeds were planted.
Yeah, they're rehearsing a million things here. Yeah.
It's wild. So we get the setup for this entire, I don't even know what to call this, elaborate episode of TV, documentary. It's completely different from the rest of the series for sure, but we get the setup for what we're going to be watching, which is that in August 2015, Michael Coleman, who's the EP of Nathan For You, and Nathan are recording some audio tracks for episodes that were earlier on in the series. And they had asked for William/Bill Heath, who was in the episode for the souvenir shop, and he played the Bill Gates impersonator, to come on and talk about his experience during this recording. And as we see later throughout other meetings with Bill, where he kind of showed up at the Nathan Fielder offices, we learn that Bill has this long lost love named Frances Gaddy, and he talks about her all the time. This keeps coming up. And so Nathan really zeroes in on Bill's love for Frances.
Yeah, we also learned that Bill's mother does not approve of her, and he decides to blame his mom 60 years later for them not being together, which I thought was iconic.
It's a tough look. It's a tough look to be blaming the mom 6 years later.
Yeah, we know that your mom loves Colin, and at your wedding, in her speech, roasted you, but praised Colin a lot.
Yeah, you know what? Megan and I were at a wedding together this past weekend, and I did refer to Colin as my long-suffering husband. So I do get it. Like, there's a favorite in the relationship, and my mom's favorite is definitely Colin.
Akiva, does your mom approve of your wife?
Yeah, we've been married 20 years, so it'd be super awkward. I think like first of all, I was so young, but they were still, I think, so I'm like high maintenance as a child. So like, I think they were so happy to have their hands free of me that, yeah, it was like, it was a great day for them. And I'm sure they thought like couple balls bounced the wrong way and I'm still living there now, so they were probably very happy to get out of me, 15 years before maybe they thought they would.
You could be 78 and living alone, and all you do is watch Arkansas Razorbacksto games.
I was talking to my dad once about a guy we knew who got married very late, and there was like a group of other old men who like never really partnered off, and he was like, if not but for the grace of God of like one little thing happening, like it is possible. Like you never know. Like people could be married 50 years, but what if they can marry that person? They could be like Bill Heath.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Bill Heath's life seems totally fine. He's out here impersonating Bill Gates. He's recording with Nathan Fielder. He's watching football. Like, what is wrong with that?
You really think like you think his life is totally fine? You think he's happy?
I don't know. He's going to Neiman Marcus, buying some silver serving platters, hanging out with the sales associates. Like, he seemed like pretty okay to me.
I don't know. I think if the peak of your acting career, which we learned that this is his big goal, he wouldn't marry Frances because he had big Hollywood aspirations, and he seems very focused on love and relationships right now in his life, and it's something that he keeps bringing up. I don't think he's very happy. He's buying some nice gifts, but he clearly wants this big resolution. So he has a lot of regrets, I think.
In hindsight, his whole acting career was such a colossal failure, right? I think he has one previous thing on his resume, which was like maybe an extra role. But in the totality of things, he had, this like iconic show that's all about him. Like maybe the tortoise beat the hare here. Like maybe it just took, 57 years or whatever, and he somehow did get what he wanted, which is like some crack at stardom.
Also, the whole funny thing is that he's waited this whole long. This is kind of his big break. The whole theme is that he left Frances to go be a star, and the only reason he becomes a star is because it all comes back to Frances once again. He goes on this caper to find her.
Yes, we also learned that he pretty much lies to Nathan about being a full-time Bill Gates impersonator. So I would love if we could have dove into that a little bit more, where he wants to be a star, and is he just scrolling Craigslist to see different postings and is like, you know what, I could be Bill Gates if I need to be.
Okay, but that makes sense. Like, who other than Nathan Fielder is hiring a Bill Gates impersonator? Like, is that a hot person that you're like, oh yeah, it's my kid's birthday party, I need a Bill Gates impersonator to come like show off computers?
Well, I think it's more so that he definitely had never impersonated Bill Gates before. Like, some people do impersonate different actors and actresses, and like that is their full-time gig. Like, I was just watching a clip about how there's one guy who always subs in for Ed Sheeran because he mostly looks like him, and that's just his whole career is on days Ed Sheeran can't make it, he goes in. So people do make careers of it. But Bill knows literally nothing about computers. I think technology evades him. He has no business being a Bill Gates impersonator.
It's actually kind of like he's so I'd have to rewatch the original episode he's on, but like he knows nothing about Bill Gates. It's really funny.
Nothing.
Didn't read his wiki page.
I did recently learn that Akon has two brothers who were like coming in and impersonating him, apparently. Like, they would go to different shows and say that they were Akon, and one of them was doing it in like a sanctioned way. Like, Akon knew that his brother was going to shows and like getting paid to sing Akon songs, but the other one was just like doing it like under the table and didn't tell Akon that he was doing it. So just throwing it out there if anyone's looking for a new person to impersonate. Akon's out here with 3 different Akons.
You could get any of them. If you saw
Yeah.
a posting, are there any actors you guys feel you could probably impersonate, or as well as Bill Gates anyway?
Well, we know who you would pick. We know who Megan looks like. Obviously, our Aubrey Plaza look-alike.
Yeah, I'd give it a go.
I used to get told I look like Carrie from Mythbusters, but I don't know if that's true anymore. Someone recently told me I looked like Elizabeth Olsen, but I'm like, she is much prettier than me. Like, that's just simply not true.
I've learned that to get on a TV show impersonating someone, you don't need to know anything about them. So it's okay.
Or look
You
like
don't
them.
even need to look like them.
Fair. Akiva, do you have any celeb lookalikes?
I've never gotten one in my life. So, I guess you couldn't become famous if you look like me.
You're one of one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have impersonators out there pretending to be you.
God bless them. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Having 5 podcasts.
Incredible. So Nathan does know a bit about computers. He does a big internet search to try and find Francis Gaddy, a place that I think anyone would start. And he's not able to find anything. There's over 600,000 people with the name Francis in the US at that time. And so he kind of just becomes fixated on this mystery. And that's what really drives this entire episode forward, is that he wants to find this woman. He thinks it's very romantic, he says, and he wants to reunite them. So he offers to Bill that he'll use the resources from the show to try and find her. It is a good setup, I'd say, for like a romance novel, for like a romantic movie. He hasn't talked to her since 1961. So like, I do feel like it is a good idea, but the places that we take it.
You have to think like just based on the amount of effort they put in here, and you think about like what came first, reverse engineering the episode. They had to, at the bare minimum, know that she was alive, or else like there's maybe this is a 30-minute episode, but it's not the 90-minute season finale. And also like people forget, especially if you're me and you haven't watched the show in a while, like most of these episodes are silly. They're not like super. This is like, schmaltzy and whatever. They had to have known, A, that she was alive, B, willing to have her name used because they use her real name, right? I don't think they could have like changed the name. We see the yearbook. We see a lot of things.
Do you need to give permission to have your name used?
I mean, they're like reading her letters. It's pretty aggressive. I don't know the answer, but also probably knew that she was not going to come on, actually physically appear. And they do block out her husband. So they definitely ask for permission because the husband's face is not shown.
I think it's a great setup. I'm convinced, maybe because I just want to be, that they had no idea where it was going. I feel like it took so many different turns, and I like how they found the yearbook and everything, but I think it would still be an okay conclusion if she ultimately didn't end up being alive, which obviously would be horrible. But I think Bill getting that conclusion would still be there and going on an epic journey to find it. And I think because it took them so long and they did have these long pauses in trying to find her, that's how we got the Macy storyline coming in. So I think I've convinced myself, whether that's reasonable or not, that they went into it not knowing how it would end.
I do wonder, like, was this meant to be a pilot for a different show? Like, it just feels so tonally different than every other episode that it really doesn't feel like it like fits in with Nathan For You. And obviously it is the series finale, so like they want to have something epic, but it almost feels like this was meant to be something completely different.
I do wonder if they thought about doing like a feature film out of this, because he is like
Yeah.
writing a script at one point during the show, right? There's like a script in the, on the in his office or whatever. I wonder if that was one of the considerations here, that this would be like a theater movie.
So if this were to be turned into a spin-off show, what would that be? We just have people submit long lost loves they want Nathan Fielder to help them find? Because everyone else has Google.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there is like, I don't think it's a fully baked idea. Like, I do feel like this was like a concept and then, they made the episode. Kind of like the rehearsal and how the first episode is totally different from the rest of the season. Obviously, that was due to COVID, but I do sort of feel like this was more like a concept, and then Bill just kind of like happened to be the perfect person. Like, it could have been just trying to find like a long lost friend or a long lost lover, like anything like that. An enemy, who knows?
I really need to find that old enemy of mine.
Yeah, I love to find my haters.
Find our biggest hater.
I'd love to do a podcast episode where people talk to their old bullies. I've mentioned it before, but it seems hard to pull together.
Yeah, because normally those aren't people who want to talk to you or who would make you feel real bad.
Oh, like they could have changed.
I don't know. I can't think of a specific hater in my life, but I feel like I'm not at a place that it would necessarily be difficult for them to make fun of me. Like, you're just like setting them up for success.
Meh.
You're like, hey, come
Should
back.
we start a rumor that you're like a secret billionaire or something? So
Ooh.
if
That'd be
you and your
great.
haters find out about you, like a guy, I ran into a guy once, like a few years after college, and he was like, wow, I hear you're like really working in TV. I was like, yeah, whoever spread that, keep it going. Like, I'll give you some more things to tell them.
Yeah, that'd be great. Although I feel like, especially with like immense amounts of money, it's very apparent if you don't have it.
Not necessarily.
And she's humble. Like Megan is famously. He probably gives it all to charity.
You just have to say, oh, it's not liquid. That's all you have to say. That's like the ultimate, like, I'm rich flex. You're like, oh yeah, I have a lot of money. It's not liquid. It's tied up
She's
in
a
assets.
Bitcoin billionaire. She could take it out whenever she wants.
Yes, I understand that concept perfectly.
She just lost the password, so she can't get into the wallet.
Yeah, definitely. It's not on a sticky note on my desk. Did you guys hear that story about Mr. Beast? Someone robbed him and he had his Bitcoin passcode taped to like a sticky note on his computer screen that had like millions of dollars, and the person didn't realize it. So they just robbed like kind of much less valuable things from him.
I mean, that is a tough look. Okay, so Nathan wants to get Bill back to the last place he had seen Francis. They fly to Little Rock, Arkansas, and Bill does start remembering things as they get to his hometown. So they go to the last place that he saw Francis, and this is when we get the iconic sketch of Francis. Have you seen this woman? They show it to some of the people who are in the old music shop, which is now a wig store. And this is kind of where we learn that Bill had left Francis to go to Hollywood and pursue his acting career. And we learn a little bit more about Francis as well. She went to a different high school, and they plan that they need to go to that high school to get a yearbook and try to find her. This is where we really start getting into like the heist of it all.
Okay, this photo, this drawing must be the most iconic Nathan For You imagery that exists, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Have you seen this woman is everywhere? Like online, if you're in any groups or there's any reference to Nathan For You, it's like, here's like a coffee stain that kind of looks like it. Here's a shadow that looks like it. Here's this chip that looks like Francis. And the fact that Bill at no point stops to say, hey, maybe we should get a better drawing is crazy.
Well, they do get a better drawing. The
Well,
age progression.
let's discuss that.
What does it bother the two of you? And he does this on the rehearsal also, that he like does self-sabotage sometimes. Like does it bother you that he's getting a sketch artist that sucks? Or there are certain things he does where it's like, for instance, in the most recent season of the rehearsal, he's like talking to the senator and he's kind of like being awkward on purpose. And it's like, well, now you're sort of like being responsible for too much of the like disconnect on purpose. So here, like, it is funny, but it's also a little bit like it's just like, all right, we're of course we're not going to find this person. Let's just have like the worst sketch artist on earth, which does fit with the episode. Like he's got a clown for a client, so it's like, all right, the one person on earth who wouldn't notice, like, hey, it looks like a an Asian woman and not like my 60-year-old lost girlfriend.
Well, I think it's a risk. I think that when you put forward this bit, the responsibility is on Bill for his reaction to be appropriate. You set up this insane drawing, and I think Bill is supposed to have some sort of reaction or say something or have a better concept of, oh, you know what? I don't think anyone's going to recognize her in this drawing. We should look somewhere else. But Bill just goes along with it.
I would be more upset if the age progression specialist guy like didn't believe in what he was doing. But like I like it when the kind of bumbling people that we hire are like they believe so wholeheartedly in their job and they think that they're really good at it and that this is like a legitimate thing to be doing. Then I'm okay with Nathan kind of self-sabotaging, as you said, Kiwi.
Do we think that this is the biggest self-sabotage of this episode? Like, clearly this drawing is going absolutely nowhere, but is this the worst way he tries to find Francis? Probably.
No, I think Bill is a big self-sabotager, like doesn't even say like, hey, by the way, I'm in the neighborhood, I'm outside. Bill does a lot of self-sabotage himself. Yeah, I think this is up there, at least in this episode, for Nathan, but it's pretty consistent throughout its work that he's like, I guess it's canon that if something is funny, he's allowed to do it even though it hurts his effort to find something.
I do feel like we should talk about Bill and this quest that Bill's on and just his general like demeanor through this entire thing. We get into it like later in the episode that Nathan feels like he's just an old guy who wants to go on an adventure. And we kind of get later into some of the more like dark music when Bill is talking about digging into the nuts and all of these things. But do we think that Bill's intentions were pure to try and find Francis?
He does seem very obsessed with her, but he also wants to be a star and is very clearly focused on the cameras being present. So I think in this specific situation, it is a combination of both. He definitely wants to be famous. He wants to be on camera. But I genuinely think that he also wants to find Francis.
I don't know if like anything we say about him is like ascribing him maybe too much credit. Like he is a very simple man. He's bored. He's lonely. Obviously, like he could not have thought it would ever get to 1% of where it got to. Like had just been on, briefly been on another episode and thought like, oh, maybe I'll get it. A cameo in a second episode. And this is what happened.
So because he just kept showing up to their studio and bringing gifts, do we think he was angling to get more camera time?
100%, right?
Yeah. He was like trying to network, but he didn't know how,
Yeah. He did keep bringing them gifts.
We saw his cell phone. Like he was like not about to be texting Nathan. Like he had to just keep showing up. He's 78 years old.
Surprising it didn't work before, though.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't need Bill Gates in any other episode, I guess. So we get the whole caper with the yearbook, and we learn about the movie Mud from 2013. Have any of us seen Mud starring Matthew McConaughey? Because I had never heard of this movie. I forgot about this entire plot point, and I looked it up, and like apparently Mud, people like it. It's a good movie.
I've seen it. It's a totally solid movie. I remember nothing about it. Zero things. But it's like it's a B. It's a B heading towards B+. It's fine.
I've never seen it, never heard of it, forgot it existed until I was rewatching. But I do think it is completely genius to get the yearbook this way. I love this little heist side quest. I think it's the best little side quest that we go on.
Yeah, I agree. I think the method for getting the yearbook, this is very genius. You know, they're posing that they're making a second Mud movie. They find someone from the first Mud movie to fake cast in it. They've got like little Mud 2 hats. Also, I will say, like, I didn't realize that Mud is like the character name in the first movie. So I don't know how much like Mud 2 never clean. Like, does that really make sense? But you know what? Apparently no one else at the school really looked into it too much either. But they are able to gain access to the school this way.
Yeah, and they actually do get the yearbook. So it's something that they pursued. And I feel a little bad for the actor that they brought in who thought that he was getting this big role in Mud 2 Never Clean.
He gets a second role during the show, right? He's an actor during the rehearsal for Bill to Meet Francis.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of similar to Wings of Voice. Like, is it fine that there's a secondary show? Like, you have been cast in a show. It just is not Mud 2. You were cast in Finding Francis, like, C plot.
Yeah, and also I feel like, you know, I'm sure Richard Ledbetter is doing fine. He got to be on this very popular episode of a very popular show, so I'm sure this is probably better than being in the sequel to a random 2012 Matthew McConaughey movie that none of us can remember. So this is probably net better for him anyway.
But the high school is exquisite. They get the yearbook very easily. Do they have multiple copies of each year, or they just willingly gave them their 57 and they'll never have that again?
Probably when photocopied or something. It's a good question. I'd assume most schools have like a bunch of copies of the yearbook, but this is 57 years ago, so that's a tricky one. I do think it is like a good lesson for all of us that if you want to like do a heist, pretend that you're a movie and like, oh, you could go into a school, go into like somebody's office, and they'll let you snoop around. What are they looking for? It's a movie. They have no connection to us.
Lying is easy. Lie your way to the top, baby. There's no issues. And he is a show. And so, again, the whole concept of this show is like how people will act differently when there's cameras on them. You go to the school, you have this great story about wanting to find, even if it's an old friend of yours. I don't really know why they aren't trying to help you if it's from 60 years ago. You're not trying to find a student attending right now. I feel like that's something that should have been more okay. But because it's this random film, they'll give you everything you want and allow you access to the full grounds with tour guide. But we got what we needed, and we find Francis. Well, we find a photo of Francis that we can age progress to post around town.
I love when they find the photo. I actually thought this was really cute, personally.
Mm-hmm. I also love it when we bring back characters. So bringing back Cornelius Ladd, 10 out of 10 for me. Age progression. I like that we get to see him just describing Gravity and dragging her jowls down. I'm like, what are we doing? And then just drawing some extra little frowny lines and the job is done. I'd love for us to find him and send him photos of all of us.
Okay, but like, he doesn't do that bad a job.
I don't understand. I wish we got the full recording of him doing it because he just dramatically drags down parts of her face, draws some lines on her forehead, and then somehow it's a photo.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't look that bad. Honestly, my favorite thing is when he says that soon we're going to be living to 600 years on average. And he said in the next 30 years. So how are we feeling about that? Because
who's the guy who is using his body to test all these longer living methods, who's convinced we're going to live forever very soon?
Yeah, the biohacker guy.
Yeah.
I'm not in the manosphere. Surprising to everyone.
Yeah, I don't remember his. I know you're talking about, but I remember. I know what you're saying.
I feel like it's Brian something. Brian Johnson.
That sounds like a Brian thing to be doing.
All Brians are going to live forever.
Yeah, he needs to team up with Brian so that we can start living forever. Gravity, man, our biggest enemy. It's aging us all. We all need to go to space.
Okay, but then those people were trapped in space and they came back down and they were like, oh, we've aged like 10 years or whatever from being in space for a little too long.
Oh, didn't know that. I feel like discussing space and gravity and how it will age us is like squarely outside of our wheelhouse. I have no clue.
We just spent so many episodes talking about like flying planes. So at this point, it's like, whatever. Like, I feel like if this Brian guy can claim that he's an expert in not aging, like I can claim I'm an expert in space and aging too. Like, what makes him better than me, you feel?
We just learned what a captain and a co-captain is and a first officer. And we, by the last episode, got it squared up who's who. So if there's any space age progression specialists out there, let us know. Do we want to be in space more or on Earth more? And how do we live longer? And can it be 600 years?
I simply don't think I want to live for 600 years. Like, not to, that sounds like incredibly depressing, but like, it's like, I don't think it's getting much better out here. I don't know. Just keeps getting hotter, you know? There's flooding and fires. Like, I don't want to be around in 600 years.
600 sounds like too many. What would you sign for? How many years are you like, okay, I'll try it?
100 is still a lot.
100's a lot.
No.
My grandpa turned to me when he was like 91. He's like, I have no interest in living till 100, he told me.
Oh, no.
So I guess this would have to be a different 100. It would be like 100, then would be like 100, then would be like 70 now. They could still do some physical activity.
I feel like it's very non-committal to sign up for the full 600 or whatever. You know, you could always exit left if you so choose. Like, you could get out of this commitment if you wanted.
Oh, boy. Listen, there's no good way to segue out of that. But we see.
Okay, I will commit to the 600 years.
Megan's out here for all 600. I'm here for like, I'm pushing 100 and like maybe that's it.
101. Do 101. It's like a fun round number.
Yeah, exactly. But so we see Frances' aged up photograph. Honestly, I think that she looks kind of similar to what we see as her later in the episode. I don't know if all white ladies just kind of look alike. He's 95% confident in this work, which, like, personally at my job, I don't think I'm 95% confident in anything. Cornelius Ladd is out here. He's really feeling good about his job. So I love that for him.
You have to advocate for yourself in this sphere. Like, if you're an age progression specialist, you have to back your photos. You have to think that they're accurate.
I do feel like now I'm curious to send like a picture of me as a kid and see, like, could he get it right?
Yeah, we should actually try to find him. I think it would be very funny. But also AI is coming for his job, right? Like, there's no way he's still employed.
I think it came for his job. Yeah. I think
Nathan's his only client, right? Who else hired him?
Nathan Fielder will never use AI. That's one thing we know.
Yes, of course.
Though that could be a good rehearsal season 3 topic, I will say. That could be something interesting for him to tackle. We learned that Bill is actually going to start staying with his niece Shelly, and we go over to Shelly's house and learn a little bit about her. She's an empty nester, and Shelly brings out some old pics of Bill, and young Bill honestly looks pretty good, I will say.
He's a fox.
What was she going to say?
I'm looking respectfully.
I like seeing this part because, like, we don't really meet anybody else. We never meet a friend or an acquaintance of Bill's the entire 90 minutes, right? Nobody who knows him besides his niece. I think the husband's not there, right? I don't think we see anybody else but this one person. So for her to corroborate the stories, she has the letters. She really, like, ties the whole thing together. You really need her, or else it's like, is everything he's saying a lie? But now we know Francis existed. He had this life. You know, he had a difficult life. I like when someone has a niece that's like super old, you know, like it's an old niece. Like, this is my uncle, but you're also like, you know, an uncle or an aunt.
Yeah, she really does give us a lot of information. And this is where we find out that Bill has never told her that he's a Bill Gates impersonator. And she seems like not that shocked. Like, she's kind of like, oh, that's just Bill. Like, just lying all over the place.
There he goes, digging again.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay.
That's fun lore though. Like, if your uncle, you just find out one day, you're like, oh yeah, he's a Bill Gates impersonator and knows absolutely nothing about Bill Gates or computers in any way.
Well, and Nathan like really calls him out on it in the kitchen. He's like, you said you've been a Bill Gates impersonator for years. And Bill's like, I never said that. And he's like, we have it on camera.
The flashback is great. The flashback is great. I love it on any reality show where some guy is lying about something and you can immediately, there's a flashback of showing them saying the exact opposite. So I love this part.
Okay, if anyone can remember watching this for the first time, was there ever a fear that Bill was actually like a dangerous individual or former stalker, or was this just totally, played up for drama?
We don't know that he's not, first of all. Like,
Hmm.
it's a tricky episode because he is sort of like the focus and the hero of the episode, but I think we could agree, like, he's a bad guy, right? He's like, or like very skeevy, even with the actress. Like, his first move is to sort of like touch her and then just lie and say I didn't do it, the same way he lied about the Bill Gates thing. We don't, other than the one nice thing he does at the end, which is buy Nathan a gift. There's not a lot of goodness to Bill. He just wants things. And again, older people are needy sometimes. He's not a great guy. Like, it is possible he's done bad, he was a bad guy. All we have from Bill is like his 20s in Arkansas. We don't even really know how he knew Frances. They lived 2 hours away in Arkansas. But whatever, Arkansas is a small town and they knew each other. And then he moves to Hollywood, about the age of 30 or whatever. We know nothing about his next 57 years. We don't know what he's been doing. We know he had a girlfriend 57 years ago, and we know he never got married and had kids. We assume he never got married. He doesn't ever explicitly says it, but might, if they got married for 2 minutes, it might be something Nathan would want to leave out. We don't know anything. Like, what was his job? He wasn't a Bill Gates impersonator. He lied about it. We don't know. I did Google it, and I have like some guess now, but the show doesn't tell us like what his job was. We don't know anything about his life in Los Angeles. He seems to have, like Megan alluded to, like a middle class lifestyle. He can afford stuff from Neiman Marcus, and he doesn't dress like a slob. Like, he definitely put together and he's on his own, and maybe it wasn't so expensive, and maybe he had like a rent controlled apartment or something. Like, he definitely was able to like live a life, but we know nothing about it. And he might be a really bad guy. We don't have any evidence that he's not.
Also, this is definitely stalking someone, right? Like, you're getting a whole camera crew, you're heisting away, you're mud in your way to a yearbook, you're driving across the country, you're flying across the country to meet someone. Like, that is stalking, right?
Her name is in the title. Like, Frances's name is in the title. She has nothing to do with this episode. It did not necessarily want. I do, like, I think that she signed off on it, but I don't have any proof. But like, it's not finding Bill's old love. It's like finding Frances, and Frances is never shown on screen, and we hear her once on the phone. We don't even really, if you want to be like a Hollywood skeptic, like, we don't even really know that it's her at all. And so yeah, they are stalking her. They are completely and totally stalking her in a ridiculous way.
Out of this episode, do you think Bill or Frances was more famous?
Bill.
I mean, Frances, nobody knows who she is.
We don't
I
even
guess
know
we
what
just
she
get a
looks like.
photo. No, we know what she looks like. Hello.
Oh yeah,
The age progression specialist.
of course.
Is
Yes, we did.
perfection.
Now, she did have like social media. That's also like another thing. Like, if someone other than Bill probably could have, like, that's why they probably found her in a few hours. She had social media that tracked that he was able to find. They didn't have the right name for it, but I feel like, a small town in Arkansas, you could do a search with that and the first name, you probably would have found it. I did see some things online that, like, Bill's story, his social media, like, says he grew up in Cincinnati and like went to college in Cincinnati, which doesn't track at all with like him being from Arkansas. Well, he's clearly from Arkansas, his family in Arkansas, and like B, like a big University of Arkansas, football booster. But he's a man of mystery, Bill.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people in the Nathan Fielder universe who are like this, where they'll like find someone and they kind of like shield a lot of information from the audience about them and kind of give us like a narrative. I feel like this happened a lot in the rehearsal season 2 with the pilots. I feel like we can say this because we're in the middle of the episode. So like, if you're listening, you're a real one. But like, we did learn that a lot of people who it said that they worked for a certain airline, like didn't actually work for that airline, or like weren't actually living in the place that they said they were living. There's definitely some producing going on here with Bill's backstory, I feel.
Now you're bumming me out about the airline stuff.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
we'll tell you more. But I feel like where he lived is so relevant and so important to finding Frances. We have to track down his high school reunion, her high school reunion. Like, where they grew up is very important and matters. So I don't know, especially when Akiva was saying, like, there's all these years of what he was doing, I was like, yeah, we really don't know anything about him. But, you know, they're just having a casual conversation over the counter, munching on some nuts. There he goes, digging again.
I forgot how funny that scene is where he says, "Here I go, digging again."
It's one of like the iconic lines.
Yes, and we go on another kind of like little side quest where they get a call from a guy named Jake who claims that the woman in the picture is his great grandmother. And I feel like we were not really given the information that they were offering a reward for finding Francis. But it's briefly mentioned here. They give Jake some money or show him that they have money for showing them the great grandmother. And then they show up at this woman's house because Jake just gives them her address.
They must have known it was the wrong person, right? Because there's no like, think about what happens when they know it's the right house. Like he doesn't want to bring the cameras and scare her. Here they're just showing up, and now they were invited. It's a little different. They were invited by the grandson, I think. Yeah, but I think they knew he was a scammer who just wanted the money, right?
How much money do you think was in the envelope?
$200? Like, how much
That
would
was
you
my
guys
guess.
charge for your great grandmother's address?
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to Google it on findagrave.com. I don't know. I mean, it is a TV production, so like maybe it's 500, but yeah, I would say a normal person would give like 200 back.
Yeah, but it is not the right Frances. This is Frances Applin, but she does seem like a very nice lady. She's pretty welcoming. Lets Bill use the bathroom. And that's kind of it with this Frances. Like, you know, we struck out once and we've got to move on.
Unnecessarily coming for her bathroom cleanliness. Like this woman is just trying to live her life, answers the door, lets you, a stranger, in to use her bathroom, says a bunch of nice stuff about you. And then, which it's Nathan who brings it up in the car, is like, oh,
Yeah.
how was the bathroom?
Which is such a
like, leave her alone.
Imagine if they if someone used your like, hey, you know, can we shoot like a 2-second scene in your house? And then the show is talking about how messy your bathroom was.
I'd be devastated watching it.
Devastated.
Devastating. A devastating blow for Frances 1.
Hopefully she never watched it. Like, you know, she doesn't need that smoke.
Yeah. So now we come to one of my next favorite side quests, which is they decide that they want to pose the 60-year reunion. Bill attends his own high school 60-year reunion, and it gives Nathan the idea to create a 57-year reunion for Frances's high school. So they make posters and print thousands of them, and they get a gang of local boys who are 3 adult men to deliver them via bike to flyers in every home in Dumas.
Yeah, have you guys done a high school reunion?
I have done a kindergarten reunion. I went to like a Montessori kindergarten, and they did a reunion while I was in high school, and that's the only one I've been to.
That's so weird. I went to a very small high school. We had 33 guys graduating class. So like we have a group chat that I think still, you know, probably 90. It's not active because it started too late. You know, because there weren't a group chats when I graduated in 01. But like most of the grade is in there. We had a 10-year, and it was like the school, because the private school has a dinner, which is like their big fundraiser. So it was kind of like an offshoot of that. So it wasn't fun, and most people didn't show up. It was kind of brutal. And now like I'm almost at 25, and like I hope they don't do it. I don't want to have to go.
You don't want to go? But we've talked about how you can brag that you're in TV. You can say all your money is tied up in assets.
Bro,
it's not
you can be like,
all these
I have 2 Emmys. Don't ask how many people also won them with me.
Listen, that's more than Nathan Fielder. So just throwing it out there.
Well, not, you know, for a few weeks at least. I think in general, like the reunion, like if you're successful, it's almost a power move not to go and be like, just have people talk about you there. You know, wow. I hear Kelly's doing great. She got married on a podcast.
I have zero memory of how I was invited to this or how I found out about it. I have a photo, like the reunion actually took place at my high school, which was not even connected to the elementary school. So it makes no sense that they booked that as the venue. But we have a photo of all of us standing on the stairs at my high school with all these people I went to kindergarten with. And I think I'm the only person who was attending that high school. So maybe I just stumbled upon it one day.
You just like walked in and it was a reunion for your kindergarten class and you were like, sick, I'm gonna
I was like,
stay.
oh, hey, everyone. I don't remember how they contacted me. Because the kindergarten, it was like JK to like grade 2, and that was it.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like I have a high school reunion every day because I live in Toronto and I also went to high school here. And so I'm like constantly running into people that I went to high school with all the time. But actually like most of the people that I went to high school with. So I would not mind going to a high school reunion. I think we have a Facebook group, but my high school is also like insanely old. So it's like a lot of like, you know, Bill-aged people posting, you know, little memories from their high school yearbooks and things.
That's kind of
But
sweet.
It's
I think my
wholesome.
grandmother went to 75th, or maybe it was COVID and it didn't happen or something. But like he by the end they didn't have like specific year reunions. It was like 65 plus. You know, you all come.
That's cute. I would love that.
Well, he was very excited that he was the last living male, I think, of his high school class. There was still some
Oh.
women left, but he, you know, the guys died a little younger.
That's why he was excited. He was like, I'm
I
gonna
think
pick
he
them
like,
up.
I mean, he outlived all his friends. He was happy about it.
I feel like that's the opposite. Aren't most people sad that they outlive all their friends? One of our friends always says this to me. She's always like, our husbands will die before us and then we'll like hang out together.
Wait, who says that?
Megan. We have another
Okay.
friend named Megan.
Can I join? Yeah. Kelly's son Eddie has like really nailed the name Megan because there's a few of us, but it gives each of us individually a lot of confidence.
Does he know about the spelling? Like that you spell
I
it
don't think
differently?
he can spell.
No.
Not yet. Maybe soon.
We have to I have to push my spelling hard from the beginning, and I'm also the one who lives the closest, so I can get this domination.
We'll work on
Do you
it.
do you get Megan a lot or no?
Sometimes, and I always try really hard to think of like a very polite way to like say my own name to correct it, because frankly, no one wants to be called Megan, whose name is Megan.
Yeah,
I think there's almost 0 Megans in the world. That's a horrible name. If it's your name, I'm sorry, but we're enemies.
Whoa.
I strongly believe it's not a real name.
Okay, next episode, Finding Megan.
Finding Megans.
Megan's enemy Megan on the podcast.
I don't like you. You're making my life difficult.
So what do we think of the caper with Nathan renting out the church hall? He gets a band.
No, whoa. No. Go back to the boy gang.
Oh, you need to talk
The
okay,
bike.
What do you want?
I need to talk about the bike boy gang. I'm so confused. They have a truck, but then there's 3 bikes in the back. How did he find them? I like that he's like, who's your leader? Okay, I'm only going to talk to you. So
I do feel like if anyone hasn't watched the episode in a while, we do need to like really reiterate that like these are like 35-year-old men, I'd say. I'm not an age progression specialist, so like my numbers might be off, but to me, these people look around 35 to 40 years old.
yeah, do we believe that they delivered these invitations to every house?
One of the more impressive things here is that, you know, if this is real, they got like a nice crew. I mean, remember, there's people who are dead or don't live in the. They got like they got a really nice amount of people at this reunion. Nobody asked any questions about like who is throwing the reunion. It's clearly unofficial, not part of the school. It's honestly, you know, unless it's totally bogus, it's the most impressive, you know, production feat I think of the whole episode.
Yeah, so this is a credit to the bike gang, I think, all those people showing
They did a great job. He said, don't just drop them in the garbage. You got to go to every, what I would have said is like, there's 10 random houses that I know them and I'm going to call them. And if, you know, if you didn't deliver there, you don't get the second half of your money or something like that. Really incentivize them to put them in every house.
I was so ready for the flash of like the car driving around the corner, him having someone follow them and them chucking it in the garbage.
Yeah,
I was so poised for that.
My memory was that they ended up in the garbage, but it's not what happened.
I would love one of these posters. I'm like, did anyone like steal one of these posters? Because also, yeah, 57-year reunion, like no one's asking any questions here, but I guess everyone was just so excited to like see their old friends, Tommy Peacock and Alex Sanford, that they were willing to look past the fact that this makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, and were they not worried that Alex was going to show up? That would have been so funny.
Well, I think he knew who was coming because of the RSVPs, but it would have been hilarious. And I think that would have really been incredible. But he got the RSVPs, I think.
I thought he was going to be dead. Like, I thought someone was going to be like, oh, I thought Alex was dead.
That would be great. Yeah.
But yeah, apparently Alex just didn't RSVP. So everything is A-okay. And no one's spoken to him, it seems.
Yeah, I don't think many of these people actually remembered each other very well. But as Kiwi was saying, a lot of people showed up. It was a good event.
Yeah, and the band is playing, and we get Bill doing his performance of a Ding Dong Daddy from Dumas.
Okay, Bill is working it. He learned the choreography. He was singing. I thought it was so funny when Nathan, I think we're assuming Nathan stayed in costume the whole time. When he pulls the flag up and reveals the screen with the lyrics, I thought that was so, so funny. And I wish more
Amazing.
people were singing it.
I like that not that many people sang along, because to me, like, the song is giving fake. It's got a
But they all
Wikipedia
knew it.
page.
They were mouthing it, right? They all knew the song. It wasn't like, oh, this was a fake thing. They all knew this. They all knew, like, yep, this is our Dumas song. And like, I didn't know that small towns had songs. I do not Google probably like what the meaning of these lyrics were. It's probably like support the Confederacy and their it's like probably bad.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to Bill's political leanings later, but yeah, we probably don't need to look up what Ding Dong Daddy really means, or if it's been canceled, or what the writer was, doing at the time of writing the song.
Like, it's a very long song, and the lyrics just really go left.
Apparently, the Osmond brothers and Louis Armstrong have versions of this song.
Oh, are they from Dumas, or are they just like?
Well, it's apparently named after Dumas, Texas, and not Dumas, Arkansas originally. I don't know.
Makes a little more sense. I don't know why. Song to me is giving more Texas than Arkansas, but again, I'm a Canadian from like the north and like not the Texas part of Canada, aka Alberta.
You're from the most southern part of Canada.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, Alberta's like our Texas, so.
Yeah.
And Toronto's giving New York. We all know this. It's like bodega shitty New York. Anyway, we deal with the reunion. We don't really get any information from anyone, so it's kind of just like a fun little night out for Nathan and Bill more than anything. But we do learn that Shelley was able to find some letters from Frances at the time that she was dating Bill.
Really an amazing find.
Oh, well, I was kind of going backwards. I was going to say, so the whole high school reunion was a complete flop. They got nothing from it. They spent how much money on this reunion? They put out thousands of posters. They learned not a single thing from it.
But it was like good for the community.
It was good
back.
for the community.
It is a good point. But also, like, if someone had been like, hey, I'll call her right now, it would have ruined the show, right?
It's true.
I remember Frances. It's weird that no one remembered her.
One person said they thought the name was familiar and she was probably in the class, and that's the most that they got.
Because it's a small town. It's not like if it was like a 2,000 kid high school, but there's no way it was a big class. The town now is 4,000 people. I can't imagine it was much bigger then.
So we take a little side detour, side quest, don't really get anything from it, come back. And we get maybe the biggest find other than Frances are these letters that detail their relationship. And we get a much better picture of what actually happened between Bill and Frances.
Yes. So they start off very sweet, and then things take a turn when we hear about Gloria, because it sounds like Bill was perhaps stepping out on our girl Frances. I think we're like all team Frances here, right? Like, undoubtedly.
Frances is a
Kiwi.
Like, I'm not going to leave her alone. I want her to find him, and she seems perfectly happy, eventually, spoiler, to see him. But I don't know if there could be a Team Bill. I don't think Bill's family is on Team Bill.
Well, I'm sad we didn't find Gloria. I wish she came in and we got her side of the story. Maybe they were meant to be together.
She must be dead, because that for sure would have been a detour. There's or dead or not willing to talk, because that 100% would have been in the show.
Yeah, and Bill is an insane reaction when Nathan's like, Gloria, and he's like, oh, is she in there? It's like, Bill, that's your woman. Like,
also pretending he didn't know about her. And also, did he not read through all the letters before inviting Nathan over? He was just like, hey, there's a stack of letters, you read them.
It's so many letters. He probably just didn't go that deep. Like, it looks like a lot of letters.
Is this not the love of his life? Spend an afternoon.
Bill's got things to do. He's got Razorbacks games to watch.
Bill lying, he's so bad at it. He's so bad at it. He just like pulls these crazy faces looking so perplexed. It's great.
Yes, and at this point, we hear that Nathan is booking Bill to see a hypnotherapist as well, but he's not able to remember anything about Francis. All he remembers is stats from old Razorbacks games.
Respect.
Kiwi, is this a team we're standing? Like, I don't really follow college football, so I don't know anything about them.
It's really interesting because they're like in this, it's almost like if there was a Canadian hockey team, but they're not super relevant. I'm trying to think what team that would be. Like, could it be the Winnipeg Jets or something? Where it's like,
no, the Jets just made an insane playoff run, sadly.
Yeah, but basically they're in the main conference. They have a diehard fan base, but they really have never, like, they randomly won a basketball championship, like with Bill Clinton there famously as he was running for president. But they have not really been a contender in football, even though they have like a pretty diehard fan base. Yeah, I think they're like, if you were going to pick a random team, it's actually a great team to pick because like no one will accuse you of being a front runner. But in theory, there's a scenario where like one really big donor, not Bill's $3,000 a year, but one really big donor buys him a bunch of good players one year. The Walmart money or something.
Yeah, I mean, he just seems like very fixated on the Razorbacks. I feel we could have gone a different direction and like found him, maybe someone involved in the Razorbacks organization, and that would have been just as exciting.
Yeah, they could have got him a player. Like I found his Facebook page, and that mentions, like, claims that he went to University of Cincinnati, but that's another story that we don't have to get into here. But also he's like, they're like recruiting kids out of high school, and he's like, yeah, we got this like mediocre, but it was funny. Like, this is like one thing that he's interested in.
Is it possible that he went to University of Cincinnati just like still?
Yeah,
for
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Because is Cincinnati like a diehard team? I don't know.
Well, I think his family must be from Cincinnati based on my few minutes of research. But yeah, it is possible that the hometown team is University of Arkansas, even though he didn't go to college there.
Meg's like, I hate this. Let's talk about the local boy gang again.
No, we can talk about the Razorbacks. But this is another side quest we go on that we get no results from, unfortunately. But I do like the hypnotherapist. We tried it. We gave it our best shot. It didn't bring forth any other memories. Have either of you ever been hypnotized?
No.
Never.
Should you get hypnotized?
I think I would hate it.
Yeah, I've watched like on cruise ships, and during O Week of University, they had like a bunch of people up on stage to get hypnotized. My understanding is it works on some people and not on others, but they always make you look like kind of a fool. So I guess in this setting, when you're by yourself, it's a little bit safer, but it does seem high risk.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is more for like if you're trying to find memories, or like I know they do it if like people are trying to quit smoking and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if I was going to do some kind of like experimental therapy, I'd rather be like doing like ketamine therapy or something that sounds a little more fun. No offense to the hypnotherapists out there.
The hypnotherapists are like, how dare you? We are the most fun. What do you mean?
I'm like, give me the hard drugs.
Akiva, should you and Rob get hypnotized on the podcast?
It's a good question. I'll ask Rob if he's interested. Never been pitched.
Sure.
It hasn't been pitched?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we need a Rob and Akiva get hypnotized.
When you guys start spouting out, various football team stats, when you're just talking about the Jets and various things, then we'll know it worked. So we go over the letters. We learn that Francis was in love with Bill, but there seemed to be a lot of friction in the relationship. There were some red flags. Bill maybe was not respecting her in various ways. And Nathan gets a little bit nervous about this fact because they are getting a little bit closer to finding her. So he decides he needs to set Bill up on a date in a kind of lower stress scenario to see how he would act with a woman. So Nathan finds an escort who's going to go on a date with Bill to observe how he might act. And I do feel Nathan was very aggressive, saying like Bill is really old to Macy. And like, yes, 78 is old, but like if I'm Macy and someone's like, he's really old, like I'm like, oh, this is like a 90-year-old corpse I'm meeting. Like Bill is old, but he's still like with it, you know?
No, 78 is old. No, he was justified.
Like he's with it when he needs to be. Other than that, he's like, I'm just a little old man.
Okay, when we're 600, when Meg is 600 years old, come back to me and tell me if 78 is old.
Okay. No, it's completely justified, Nathan explaining the circumstances. But then he completely, I mean, do you think that Nathan wanted to set himself up with Macy the whole time? Because the way he pitches this could not have been worse.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it is kind of an interesting parallel to have Nathan on his own, quest for romantic connection and figuring out reality versus what you're building up in your head. So I could see it being the plot that like Nathan was always going to go on the date with Macy. So it could be self-sabotaging for sure. Kiwi, what do you think?
Yeah, well, Megan, what's your take here?
So I think he was always intending to be on the date, because I think if you're not, the way to explain this to Bill is just like we did with the actress that we meet later. Hey, we want to practice going on dates. I wanted to get some camera shots of you in that romantic setting, hitting on a woman, going out to lunch and practicing. But he just says, oh, I've booked you a date with an escort. And then we get Bill's reaction, which is no. And he says, you got to know what you're sticking it in, which is crazy. And Nathan says, Jesus, Bill. So, but that conversation didn't need to go that way. Like, that's not what Nathan's intention was. And he said it in a way that led Bill to believe that that's what he was being set up for. So I feel like it was very clear that that's not what he was trying to do.
Yeah, that's not what Nathan wanted. But it's honestly very out of character for Bill I don't know, maybe they're rehearsing this stuff. Like maybe he's like, I'm going to ask you this question and say no. You're not interested. So he comes up with this great one-liner. It's all part of the rehearsal. It's so out of character for him to say no to like an attractive young woman. He's such a hornball, and like it's like it's maybe
it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's like the most impressive thing he does. Not that it's like a bad, but like for him, he should be like, yeah, you need to control yourself, Bill. So it's a good decision, but it's really out of character from everything else we know about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, I do feel when Bill says, like, you got to know what you're sticking it in, then Nathan says, Jesus, Bill, like, that was clearly Nathan actually reacting.
Yeah.
He clearly broke character. But so since this has already been arranged, Nathan decides that he is going to go to meet Macy, and they just get to chatting about, who she is on camera, and she explains who some of her clients are. And Nathan ends up showing her an episode of his show. And she immediately is like, oh, you lied to every last one of them. Which is what we've been saying all along as well.
Okay, call me a fool. Say I'm that guy who thinks the waitress is genuinely hitting on me. But I am so smitten with them. I just love them. I was rooting for them so much. Which I'm deeply ashamed of. I feel like they had so much chemistry, but like it was all fake, and I'm sad.
Yeah, the chemistry. Did you see the kiss on the bed, Meg? Come on now.
Okay, the kiss was terrible, but like them just joking around, like I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, like she's obviously going to be good at talking to people.
Mm-hmm. She's really good.
Yeah, but no, there's no way she was actually interested.
I think that's her job, is to pretend to be interested. I Googled all the people on the show after, and Bill, to the best of his ability, with limited sort of like tech issues, like there's multiple people saying like, he asked me to send him the VHSs, he asked me to send him the DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
She like changed her name and like her working name, and like wanted nothing to do with it. Also, she's not credited, so she clearly wanted nothing to do with the whole show. But yeah, she is very game for like, I mean, she might be an actress also, who knows, but she's very game for like, it is funny also. Like imagine being like the accountant on set. Like, did we spend $5,000 on an escort for this show? It's kind of crazy.
Every once in a while, Nathan will say the price of what they spent on a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, how on earth, like for the anecdote,
right?
What was it? $150,000. And I'm like, on what? And then you see things like this and you're like, what on earth is happening? Because it's also, why do we need this as a part of this episode? If if we could have found Frances faster, or it seems like there's a big lull, so we need something to fill it. Nathan's saying he's lonely. We do have this big parallel between Bill and Nathan where, because of their Hollywood aspirations, their relationship deteriorated. And at this time, Nathan is at least playing like a lonely guy as well, who's like a little awkward and not great at relationships. So he's also putting himself in this setting, which is really nice. And I love that Macy is kind of, joking with him about the show and nagging him a little bit, but is also kind of like clear on her boundaries and like teaching him how to present the money and all that. Like they're all funny little bits, but it's like, what a random side quest we found ourselves in.
I feel like it's important because we need to see like Nathan have some kind of growth along with Bill. Because like at the end of the day, like, does Bill really learn anything? Like, no. He's like a lonely old man, and then at the end of the episode, he's still a lonely old man, and then he goes on a date with the actress. It might not even be a date. They might just be hanging out. I did clock. I feel like she was wearing a wedding ring. So
Ooh.
I don't actually think that was a date. But I feel like we need to see Nathan in parallel to Bill and his journey to trying to, solve this loneliness that he's facing.
Yeah, I think by interpretation of the ending, not to jump all the way to the end right now, but, Bill has allegedly been thinking about Frances all these years and has been wondering about what would happen. And does she think about me? And, she's married and moved on, but she does confirm, like, I do think about you. That was an important time in my life. Like it meant something to me too. And I feel like he kind of got the closure he needed and didn't have to go and see her in person. So I felt like they had that conclusion. And then I guess Nathan and Macy also kind of had a one last goodbye as well. But I don't know, he could have met a real person in real life. I don't know. I think the escort route was a little bit interesting to go down.
He needs like a divergent story from Bill. And also Bill is ultimately, he knows, not going to meet Frances. So like we need to we can't close on like Bill in his apartment, which by the way, we never really see Bill in his home life, which is interesting. But like we have to close on them because there is no counterpart. You could have, I guess, done June. She's not a big enough part of the story, but they do, they do end up with June, who by the way has recently passed. R.I.P. to June.
Oh
and
no.
And Bill. But no, I think it made more sense to go with Nathan.
I feel like we need the Macy storyline too, because at the end when Macy's like, we could turn the cameras off, but like, wouldn't that defeat the whole point of what we're doing here?
Yeah.
Like,
Very
I think
meta,
that's
yeah.
the whole point. And
Yeah.
the fact that this isn't like a person that he just met on the street, like someone that he is paying to be there, I feel like also works into a bit of the rehearsal stuff as well. But yeah, I feel like it just goes to kind of reinforce how Nathan feels in Hollywood, where it's like, are any of these people really your friends, or are they just employed by you?
Are they just really good at pretending?
Yeah. But yeah, so we see a couple of scenes of like Nathan going to this random bar. He's chatting with locals and then hanging out more with Macy. And we also learned that Macy has watched a few more episodes of Nathan For You. Do we think she actually did watch them?
Yeah, definitely. She referenced Ghost Realtor, which iconic episode, one of the best. I think she has great taste. I don't know if she stumbled upon that episode or they told her, hey, watch these episodes. Because if she just randomly picked one and that's where she ended up,
Hard worker.
great pick. Yeah.
She's the only person I think in the history of the series who's like, oh yeah, I've watched the show, but the joke is not on her at all. So like other people would be like, well, I'm not doing this. Like, oh, you want the worst realtor in the world, or you want the worst, sketch artist in the world? Like, this isn't like the worst escort. This is like, now she might not have known that, but the joke is 0% on her. She's treated like sort of like this respectable person in their relationship, and he's like the one who's like kind of meek and doesn't know what to do about it.
Yeah, it is very odd to have someone on the show who's like directly like, yeah, I've watched it. Like that is definitely, because
but the show's ending. Isn't that what
Yeah.
Megan or one of you guys said? Like, that they had a whole bunch of episodes they basically couldn't air, didn't make it till the end. And I would be fascinated to hear him talk about this once, like things that they almost got to and didn't. Like if he wrote a book, it would be so interesting. I don't know if he wants to reveal his methods. It does really come, and like some of the writers come from like the Sacha Baron Cohen school also. So I do think there's a lot of that. We're like, oh, we almost got this person, but they backed out last second. The interesting thing about this versus the rehearsal, I don't know if you guys like noticed in your research, Nathan, when this episode ends, does not do any press about this episode. Zero. He goes completely away for a long time. Nobody knew what he was going to do next. And like, it took did he do anything between this and the rehearsal? I forget. Like, not really, right? Not on
hacking the
screen, at least.
Emmys, hacking
Yeah.
the Emmys YouTube video. That's like it.
Yeah. So when he finished season 2 of the rehearsal, he was going on every TV channel on earth. He was going on CNN Live, like to talk about it. It is interesting that his philosophy has completely changed in the last 7-8 years. We're now like, because I would have had so many questions that I bet with 1 or 2 decent interviews he would have answered. He did go on Bill Simmons a couple times, like at the beginning of this season, I think, or after season 3. But a lot of questions that he probably would have answered if asked, but he specifically doesn't do any media. And it's kind of a bummer because I feel like a lot of these things are just like lost history now. Who's ever going to ask about Finding Francis?
Well, now that he's gotten a lot more popular recently, and I think people who have seen the rehearsal who didn't know about him are going back and watching his work. So maybe we'll get kind of a Q&A or something. But yeah, I completely agree. I wish that there was more information out there about this. It is the conclusion, but he does do all these press tours. And even for the rehearsal, some of the press tours he was doing like weren't jokes, it was seriously about pilot safety, which was surprising to me. But for Macy, she hadn't seen the show. He showed it to her. And then when they parted ways, she went and watched more of it. I think obviously because she realized I'm going to be on one of these episodes. So she did some research and came back, but she hadn't heard of it, I believe, before this, unless maybe they had to disclose that.
I feel like it's also interesting because we know during the rehearsal, at least in season 2, that people on the set were talking about like Nathan, and they watched season 1 together. Like that was not included in that show, despite the fact that it also happened there. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he'll ever reveal very much about filming this or the rehearsal unless he decides to like take on a new persona. But I think as long as he's doing this whole shtick, I don't know if we'll ever get that much information.
I mean, I would spend like $100 on a book where he like went into the process for some of this stuff. Maybe at the end of his career, he could do it. I just don't, it would probably ruin like some of the processes and things he's done. SBC has talked about like, hey, we had to run out of this, that Southern rodeo where they did like the gay thing, and then they almost got like, mob lynched by a mob or whatever. But you don't really see Nathan talk, and he does lower stakes things usually about people's feelings, not like almost gets killed, but you don't really ever hear him talk about the things that went wrong. And like I've seen AMAs with like the rehearsal people, and they're like, yeah, I can't talk about most of it, but like, yeah, we did do the reality show, and we did have to go a bunch of times and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems is it's just not as exciting. Like the stakes are a lot lower, especially in the Nathan For You episodes that didn't get aired. I think that I had read that they had said that there were 10 different segments they couldn't use because you pitch it to this business owner and they think it's so ridiculous and just are not game for it. And I think that that's more of the conclusion that they came to, where nothing super exciting happens, but it's just the business owner shuts it down and isn't interested and isn't playing ball like a lot of these other people who, just by process of a camera being there, are inclined to participate. So I think that they just were hitting that roadblock a little bit more often.
Yeah, so we see Nathan and Macy. They have a couple more hangouts. They have their private date where we see a classic Nathan dance and the incredibly awkward kiss as discussed.
The dance was incredible.
You loved it?
I loved it.
Should we be requesting Down Diggy at the next wedding we go to?
Definitely. Oh, can we segue to request that someone invites us to their wedding? Yes. A good time. So we have Kiwi, we have an email, NathanForUsPod@gmail.com. And people accidentally email us thinking we're Nathan Fielder more often than you think for an email that says podcast and has Gmail in it. But we got a wedding invite that was clearly not for us, I deduced. So I always email everyone back and just say like, oh,
You should have them on your
congratulations.
podcast. And like, why do you guys invite Nathan? Tell us about your
Tell us
affiliation with
about
your
your
affinity.
wedding.
No, yeah, that
Well,
too. I think it would be a really good episode. You should have them on the show.
we should find everyone who emailed us, but people send him some very interesting emails. And I'm always trying to be like really nice and polite and email them back and let them know like, oh, like we love Nathan Fielder too. Like I'm so excited you want to reach out. Unfortunately, we are not who you are looking for. But if you are looking for us, that is the place to do it. And some people do message us. And I think it would be really funny to get a wedding invite. So if you want us to come to your wedding, invite us.
Did that wedding already happen? You should just go to that one.
It was
No,
a
but
little
I did.
far.
Yeah, I did email them letting them know that we are not Nathan Fielder, and they did not follow up with, oh, you should come anyway. I don't think it would be appropriate to show up.
But we did discuss showing up in big suits and
Yeah.
just like watching from the sidelines.
Behind a tree.
I think that would have been appropriate as
Could be
well.
in his mascot costume from this episode.
True.
Yeah, that kills me. I can't believe we got that wedding invite. That's one of the funniest emails we've ever gotten by far.
Yeah, we do get some funny emails, which I always love.
But yeah, so we see the dance, and then the next kind of little scene we see is that Nathan and Bill try to find the Gaddy gravesite. And they just deduce that it might be Francis's father, where they then go through the library, they dig through the obituaries, and they're able to find the last name of Francis through her father's obituary. And it is Frances Monroe, and she lives in Muskegon, Michigan. And they find her on Facebook.
So this small segue is clearly the biggest breakthrough. It's where they get all their
Yeah.
information. It costs them nothing, I assume, to do. So it's not as funny as some of our other spinoffs, but it's definitely the most useful one.
Yeah, and then we get the reaction when they realize that she is married.
Bill takes a turn. We see Dark Bill emerge. He's so mean.
Yeah, he's pissed. Like, this is so Occam's razor, like, most likely scenario is that she is just married to someone else, right? Like, you know, no offense, but they're in advanced age. So the likelihood that she's remarried to someone is very high. And yeah,
Advanced
he is
age.
he's like going after this husband, like immediately. He's like making fun of him, and like seemingly the husband is a lawyer. So like quite successful. No offense to Bill, who is a Bill Gates impersonator, allegedly. Evie, what did you think of the reveal when we find Frances finally?
You know, I forgot. I actually kind of in my head thought that we do see her. I forgot that we don't. I mean, there's a slight disappointment because everything has been building to this, like to this crescendo, and everything has kind of gone their way, and it's a little bit of a bummer. But the conversation, by the way, using audio on that phone call, you know, if we really thought about how they did that and how planned it was, that they had like such good clear audio on the receiving end of the call, like, you know, maybe we'd be a little more skeptical about what happened there. But like, were they really outside her house at all? You know, it is really like they have a nice conversation. The fact that she remembers him, even though she doesn't say much, and he says, "What do you remember my mother?" But like, it's better that, you know, how devastating would it be if she didn't even remember him? That would really be like brutal. So at least he gets some satisfaction.
He does get his practice in before they talk, at least, which I do think helped, like with the disappointment, right? When he actually talks to Francis, because we see the rehearsal with June, which I feel like this is definitely where Nathan gets the idea for the rehearsal, right? When they're rehearsing the meeting.
Definitely. I think that there's a lot of points throughout Nathan for you that kind of build to this moment, but I couldn't agree more. This practice was the most valuable thing for Bill that happened in this documentary. I think it's where he grew the most as a person, actually learned a little bit of empathy about the situation. The way he came in at first, when he and June were setting things up for how he's going to approach Francis, was so horrible and so bad. And so he walks in and he's like sobbing and like crawling on the ground and like touching her leg in a weird way. I'm like, thank God we reined this in, because that was crazy. I was like, are you pretending to cry? Are you actually crying? Like, what are we doing here? Are you going to go pretend to cry to Francis? Is any of this genuine? And June was able to rein him in a little bit and say like, hey, this would make her wildly uncomfortable.
I also wonder, he's so like gross with the actress, but I think she's probably younger than like his memory, because he hasn't seen her in 57 years or whatever. He's of this beautiful woman that he was in love with. She was just a regular old lady. And I wonder if when he saw her, he would, and maybe he sort of realized that when he spoke to her on the phone, like he would have been less interested and like less thigh grabbing than he was with the actress.
The thigh grabbing was crazy.
Oh my God, yeah. And she's like, I'm married. And he's like, oh, that's okay. It's like, Bill, this is what got you in trouble in the first place with the Gloria thing.
Yeah, Bill has learned absolutely nothing in 60 years about how to treat a woman. But we only get to a turning point where they're realizing, you know what, this isn't working. We get a compilation of his poor attempts of communicating with Frances. And then they bring in a wig and decide, you know what, you need to switch roles and play as Frances and really learn some empathy. So for about an hour, they start doing the scenes where Bill is pretending to be Frances. And that seems to be the only thing that gets him in the correct mindset. And when they switch back afterwards, he actually acts like a normal human being that you could actually have a conversation with.
I want to believe that he was playing it up when he was being like so desperate and like begging on his knees.
That was crazy. Do we think that this was his audition tape? He was like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to crawl on the ground. I'm going to show them I'm a great actor. Or do we think he actually was in the mindset of when I meet Frances, this is how I'm going to act?
Kiwi, how do you feel?
I like, it's so hard to predict his behavior. I don't know, like we're ascribing a lot of like, planning and like logic when I don't think there is much there.
In my mind, like Nathan's sitting there and he's being like, okay, try it again, but like different. That's how in my mind, how this happened. Because like, I just feel like there's no way that he went this crazy.
But on the first, or what we are shown as the first take is so extreme. Also, the wig was so funny. That was great. I wish there were more wigs in Jen.
And it's a callback, like they were in the wig store before, right?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was great.
It was perfect. The wig was perfect.
But we see him tone it down and actually engage with fake Frances as like a normal human being. I thought the scene where Frances's husband comes in and he's like gonna fight him was crazy too. I'm like, Bill, you are a twig. You couldn't fight anyone. Simmer down.
I love that. That was like giving drama class in high school for sure. I really enjoyed watching it. There was an actual fight that broke out in my drama class in high school. Side note.
Over what?
Honestly, I wish I could remember. I think I went to an all-girls high school, for all the listeners who definitely don't know this. And one girl called another girl a bitch, and then they like got into a cat fight. And my high school had like 7 floors. We were on the 5th floor, and the girl who called the other girl a bitch was also pregnant. And the other girl tried to push her down the stairs, and we were all just in there. And this is like, we were all just in there like, this is whack. And no one did a thing.
The fact that you don't know why is crazy. You did not ask enough questions.
I would love an update from pregnant girl getting into a fight at drama club in high school. If you could give me one.
In the Catholic high school. Like,
you didn't get the boot for.
I wish I could say that this was like the only time that I saw the pregnant Catholic girlies getting into fights, but like this was not.
She wasn't the only pregnant girl in the school.
No, there was like a couple.
Kelly, you need to go to your high school reunion.
Yeah, now you should go. You're going to be like, you're going to see some grandmas there, Kelly. There will legitimately be grandmas.
Well, there was also a prostitution ring that someone was running out of my high school. That was a whole thing. There was also like our janitor tried to blow up our high school. Yeah.
Feel free to elaborate.
Yeah, he like opened up all the gas lines in the kitchen and then like
oh my God.
went into the kitchen and like tried to start a fire.
Maybe he was upset all these people were having premarital sex. He's like, listen, this is an abomination in the eyes of the Lord. And he's like, this school can't exist anymore.
Honestly, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
Actually, because you were also telling me not that long ago about how your swim coach, like
not my swim coach, but a swim coach that a swim coach for another team that I knew. Yes, he allegedly was involved in a murder and also a drug smuggling operation.
I wouldn't have guessed the swim coach.
Yeah, he was actually banned from coaching, but they like found a loophole, so he was just kind of still around. And his 2 kids were like amazing swimmers. One of them went to the Olympics. So
Can you read the name of the article that we found again? It was great.
yes, I have to dig it up. But I can try and find it really quickly. I'm sure it will come up.
Yeah,
pretty
the
fast
title
when
of
I
the
Google
article we
this.
found, because Kelly was telling me this story, and I was like, okay, we have to Google this. Like, there must be information out there. This is crazy. And so she found this article.
The whole reason is because in my mind, like when I was first told this, I was like a kid, like I was like a teenager. So like in my mind, I was like, this is clearly like kids just making something up, right? There's no way that this actually happened. But yeah, no, it actually did happen. The name of the article is The Steroid Dealing, Ecstasy Smuggling, Dead Body Burning Swim Coach.
Isn't that the most iconic title for a newspaper article? Like, frankly, this reporter doesn't get enough credit. Like, the number of newspaper articles I read with the most boring titles. Who's the writer? This person's a legend.
Yeah, it's on like a fake website. Casey Barrett is the person
What do you
who wrote
mean
this,
fake?
but it's just on like a random
Define
website. But
fake.
there are real articles on like there are articles you can look up about. His name's Cecil Russell. Allegedly, I hope no one rat me out for this. I don't want this man to sue me. I think he has a lot of money.
What could he possibly sue you for? You didn't write the article.
Listen, all I'm saying is he was banned from coaching, and then he would show up at the pool and everyone was like, that guy killed someone. And I was like, I'm 13 years old. Like, what? Sorry. We're so in the weeds on this.
Your high school was fucking crazy. My high school was a lot more chill.
This is separate from my high school.
Yeah, but like, it's all in the same realm, you know? The lore is loring.
Listen, all I'm saying is like, I turned out pretty well adjusted and normal, and I had all these things happening around me.
So we're saying that Bill has no excuses?
Yeah.
Bill, you cheated on a girl and she left you. That's all.
Baby, it's gonna be okay. I just
Mhm.
don't know why he didn't just like eat, pray, love, like get over this. I do feel like there were other options. He didn't need to be on this TV show 60 years later.
But they do all this practice and they start to get ready to show up to Francis's house, which is also crazy. So they travel to Traverse City, Michigan, and check into a hotel. We get a little clip of the Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, which was crazy and unsurprising, who Bill clearly voted for.
Okay, but he makes such a good point where he's like, you can't trust the polls. Like, the only thing that matters is election day, which,
Yeah.
like, that is rough.
Yeah, but then how does he know that he's going to win? Like, is like, well, then you have no information. It's totally 50-50. But yeah, he ends up looking pretty shit.
Yeah. But yeah, we do this whole thing. We go all the way to Michigan, and then Bill is so hesitant when they're going to her house. And I don't know, like the reveal that he doesn't actually go and meet her, it is kind of a bit of a bummer.
Absolutely. We definitely wanted to see that. That would have been a much better ending.
At a certain point, like, if X didn't happen, then there's no episode. Like, this is the highest level. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, if she was dead, maybe there's no episode. Or if she doesn't speak at all. But getting on the phone is like, it's not ideal. I'm sure they pushed hard. I would love to hear like how this went back and forth, but you know, it's better than nothing.
If you guys find, you know, in this scenario, like everyone's single, if you find your like long lost love and they're like, I have 9 grandchildren, like, is that a deal breaker? He sounded pretty willing to break up the marriage.
9 grandchildren is an ick for some people.
But they're not like, you'd be the step grandfather.
Be the grandfather that stepped up to those 9 kids.
Yeah.
No, the husband's the problem. Having grandkids is not an issue. If anything, that's like kind of fun, right?
I don't think it's such a turn off, the grandkids.
I didn't think the husband was much of a problem earlier. Like, I feel like he was very ready to fight the husband. And then, like, when push came to shove, he was like, never mind. I won't even go actually to her door.
There's almost no people, even though he dances nicely, like, there's almost no people I would trust Bill to be able to, like, physically manhandle. Like, the husband probably would have whooped his ass unless he's, like, fully in a wheelchair.
Well, the husband was like, they say he was like a football guy, also like in the Glee Club, which like I guess you're less likely to be able to fight if you're in the Glee
I
Club.
was on the
I don't
football
know.
team 60 years ago, but yeah.
Sorry, your impression of this conversation was that her having 9 grandchildren is what made him decide not to go to the door. Is that right?
No, he didn't want to go to the door because she didn't immediately recognize his voice after like
That
whatever
was
50 years.
the craziest way to open a conversation. Nathan freaking out, being like, tell her who you are. Bill, for anyone who doesn't remember, calls up Francis after 60 years and is like, do you recognize my voice? Do you know who this is? Think hard, Francis. Who
He has
am
such
I?
a specific cadence too with the way that he talks.
This is the worst opening he could have possibly had. And the fact that they rehearsed and got to this is crazy.
Kiwi, are you hanging up the phone? What are you doing if you get this call?
No, I never hang up. I accidentally answered the door. I thought one of my kids was like outside playing, and then they got locked out, and they were like someone was knocking in a very like obnoxious like kid way, and I opened the door, and it was like someone asking for charity, but like they didn't have papers or anything. Like it's known around here, like you got to have some sort of like someone vouching for you if you're going door to door. Like there's many legitimate organizations that you could go through. So but then I like opened the door and I didn't want to slam it in her face in the 1% chance she's not a scammer. And she's like, I'll give you my phone number. I was like, no, you give me yours. And I already lost. If it's not like, I don't mind having awkward conversations, so I'm happy to answer the phone and have a weird conversation. I would love if a random person called me. It did happen. It wasn't that random, but a guy I hadn't spoken to in like 10, 12 years, like, hey, can I tell you a really funny story? And I'm like, sure. And he called me right then and he told me like it was sports and betting related. It wasn't like a personal story or anything. And it was funny, but like I would love if people just did that. I feel like I do random things like that sometimes if I think of someone. So yeah, if you knew me 15 years ago and you think like, hey, I'm gonna like tell someone this, 15 years from now, one of you guys can call me and like I'll be like, oh, that's funny. Remember you know what happened? Like we found out that Bill actually is, you know, he was really married to Francis, and they didn't tell us.
Oh,
that would be the reveal of the century, though.
They got married at the end. This is like the greatest episode in television history. If they like wound up together somehow, the show ends with them like on the bed. He's like trying to kiss her.
Oh no.
Oh no, I was gonna say, do we think Bill is like just waiting for her husband to die?
There's probably a lot of old men out there or women who are like doing that, right? Like checking the obituaries. I also think that there's like, not to be like a creepy old man, like it sounds like from what we know that Bill like and Francis like never consummated anything. Like he said he tried to kiss her on the bed. She mentions in the letter she's like, I'm a pure person or whatever, unlike your girlfriend now. So like that's like probably Gloria. That's probably 80% of his regret is like he didn't close the deal in the 50s.
You think that's what it is?
I think that's a lot of it. Like he just has a lot of like, man, I really screwed this one up.
Honestly, Bill does not come off looking great in this in this podcast, in this episode of television. I don't know if I would be setting him up with my grandmother personally. They're actually both dead. Rest their souls if they were alive. I think Bill's a little untrustworthy.
Akiva, do you know any like men or like single? What age range are we looking at, Kelly?
I don't even know what a ranchman is. I'm a New Yorker. I don't know what that
Kelly's
is.
mom. We need to set someone up with Kelly's mom, and she loves going on like trips to horseback riding places.
How old is she?
65.
Okay. 65. That would be a great. Can we do a Renap episode? I don't think we have like old enough listeners. Like, who wants to date Kelly's mom?
They could be young. They could be
honestly.
Young.
I beg of you.
But no, like they could be younger than
subplot.
her. Should we pitch that? Can you write this into Renap? Who wants to date my mom?
Yes.
That would be like we'll do the Golden Bachelorette. We get like Haley.
Oh my God! Yes, please.
She's been on Renap before, right? Wasn't she?
She has. She was. She is a bit of a firecracker. I'll just like sit next to her and like make sure she doesn't unplug any cords or anything.
We'll
honestly,
it would be. We'll teach her.
It would be a good episode. I feel like the hardest thing would be finding like a young person, or not necessarily young, but a Toronto-based person.
Toronto. She's not willing to. Well, she's got a grandkid nearby now. Like she's not willing to travel.
I think maybe like she would a little bit.
For the right man.
I get the most random, like Facebook is the algorithm in the main page is almost useless now. And I'll get a lot of like really stupid groups like the Dull Men's Club or like the Dull Women's Club, like, and a lot of things that have like, hey, I'm going to Arizona State this year. Who wants to room with me? And it's like a super attractive woman, and like that's the algorithm is just showing you like hot chicks looking for roommates. But one of them is like Jewish singles who are very old. And I love the pitches because sometimes they'll not give enough information. They'll be like, I'm 57. They won't say what country they live in even, like like it could be any country. They don't say like where they live, what they're looking for. They're just dropping a picture. So maybe we could, maybe we could do better with Mama Kelly.
I mean, Sherry is a bit of a wild card. I feel like the biggest problem is like you just don't know what she's coming in with. She like roasted me at my wedding. Like she comes in hot.
I also like there was 2 posts this week because I'll click on the comments because they're so funny, and they were like, "Is having kids a deal breaker?" And both times the guy was like, "Yes." I was like, you're like 47. You're like, look like a schlub. Have nothing going for you. Your only deal breaker should be like, do you speak the same language? Even that isn't really a deal breaker. You should have zero.
You have a pulse?
No, you should have 0 deal breakers.
Do you have 9 grandchildren?
Yeah. New question.
Yes or no? He should date them.
New question. Yeah. We're going to fully submit that. We have to prep Sherry, though. We're going to need a minute to make sure that she has good answers and knows what she's looking for. But ideally, it would be a ranchman in like Northern Ontario. I think that would be good for her.
I'll prep her on Friday. She's coming over to babysit. So we'll see what she thinks.
I don't know if she knows how many times we talk about this on the podcast.
She doesn't know how to listen to a podcast, luckily, so she will never hear this, which is fantastic for me.
This is great news.
And Megan's mom is famously blocked from my Instagram story so that she can't find the podcast. So.
Oh, well, okay.
Does she know
so
she's
my
blocked?
parents don't.
No,
I don't think
I feel
so.
bad. I post really good content on there, so I do feel bad that she can't see it.
Because my mom doesn't know that we have a podcast because I don't know how to explain this. And although she would be very supportive, my mom's like overly supportive of everything. Like she would be messaging like every random relative I have, every episode. Like she would be all in, but that would be a lot. And so I'll unblock her if I'm posting a story that's not podcast related, but then I block her if there's a podcast related one. And so Kelly shared a TikTok video of me talking about the rehearsal, specifically the episode about Nathan Fielder drinking the boob puppet milk. I was talking about it and my mom saw it and sent it to me. And she was like, oh, like, I love your shirt. Like, your eyes look really nice. And I was like, Kelly. I was like, block her. And then I hopped on the podcast account and blocked her from everything.
I feel like you shouldn't be doing this anymore, though. It's like, at a certain point, we're old enough, whatever they think. In my family group, one of my cousins went on a podcast, and everyone was like, wow, look, you went on a podcast. And I was like, I've been on thousands of podcasts. No one has ever mentioned it. Not that I want them to listen. No one has ever mentioned it in this group. It's pretty funny.
We should unblock her, and then if she finds it, she finds it. And maybe one day she'll just bring it up and be like, hey, have you had a podcast for 5 years? And I'll be like, oh, yeah. Definitely.
She was on an episode.
Oh, yeah, we did call her. You know, in the anecdote when they get the mother's ashes and the one guy who they go with just asks for nail clippings and chunks of hair and they burn it. Mm-hmm. So we each called our mothers and said, hey, if I needed chunks of your hair and nail clippings so I could turn it into ashes and pretend that I have my mother's ashes for a big opportunity, would you give that to me? And my mom was like, yeah, sure, take it. When do you need it? And I was like, well, I don't, but also you shouldn't say yes to this so easily.
I would give.
I should ask for better things.
Hair. I don't have that much hair to give them anymore, but I give them my nail clippings.
Yeah. It turns out parents are very willing to do this. I think we've gone 3 for 3 now on people we've asked. Everyone's willing to do it. Someone should say no. It's a weird request.
I'm not using all my nail clippings. Like I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, take it, whatever you need.
No, I'm not. But yes. I'm not handing them over. Although I'm the only one here without kids. I'm like, no, that's a weird thing to do. You cannot have them.
Meg, when you have kids, like you do a lot of weird shit. Just like
you got to get ready now to like give up your nail.
Give them my nails. I'll start saving them in a little plastic
Cut,
bag.
cut like a, next time you get a haircut, cut like a little hair, put it in a bag just in case.
Oh, that's such a weird vibe. I feel like that's a deal breaker if you're trying to date someone and you go to their house and you're like, what's that little baggie? And I'm like, oh, that's just nail clippings for my future child if they happen to want to burn them and turn them into ashes for a big opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's obviously a deal breaker. Yes.
Okay, I'm glad we've defined a deal breaker for once. So back to Bill, who has the most horrific conversation. But once we get over the fact that there's no way Frances will ever know and be able to guess that the person calling is Bill, a guy who cheated on her 60 years ago, they do kind of have a nice conversation where I think I mentioned earlier, it seems like she does remember him. It is a very sweet conversation. They seem like they both cared about each other a lot. And he's able to get kind of that conclusion of, you know what, this isn't going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he got the closure. I do think the conversation, like, I feel like Frances was trying to get a lot more out of him and he was being still a little bit cagey. We don't really learn much about him. He's just like, I'm just in LA doing my actor thing. And yeah, I don't know. It's like as soon as he learned that she had 9 grandchildren and was married and didn't remember his voice, he was kind of like, oh, I'm kind of done with this.
But he could have found, like, he knew all those things before.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, he knew she was married and, probably could have figured out how many grandchildren, but, grandchildren existed.
I do feel it was sad when he said, like, oh, I should have married you. You know how it is. Like that, I did feel very bad for him when he said that.
Deeply relatable to say something unbelievably serious and then just be like, oh, no worries, though. It's fine.
Kiwi, how are you reacting to this? I should have married you.
Yeah, he shrugs it off so quickly that it's like the TV trope of if you say something and you say, oh, never mind, they didn't really hear it, or like you pretend not to hear it. She's still married, so there's no way she could respond positively, but it's, one of the interesting things here, it's not like a lot of times in this scenario would be like the guy was a loser and like he never had a shot and he's just obsessed with the woman. It's really not the case here. He blew his chance. She was once willing. So, now he's sort of realizing his mistake.
If I'm Frances, though, this is gonna fuel me for until I die at 600, because knowing some man is out there pining for you still after 60 years and he cheated on you, oh my god, the joy this would bring me. I cannot even explain how happy I would be. Just me, no one else.
No, you're not wrong. That is the dream. That's incredible. Kelly and I are like, oh, we would love it if our exes called us pining over us years later. That'd be so fulfilling.
But I want to be I'm unavailable.
You'd feel bad for a person who did this.
Yes.
If you were not interested, it kind of oh, sucks for you. I don't think the Don Draper meme. I don't think about you at all. Yeah.
Not after 60 years. It's you could have reached out.
After you watch the episode, you feel bad. If you think he just found your number and called you to talk to you, that's not as big a deal. But it's the fact that he went through all of this stuff. And then after you kind of see the lengths that this guy went to, I think then you feel it's very sad, personally.
Maybe you feel sad until he immediately asks for June's number, I would say. He moved on very quick. There was immense pining and then no more pining. And he was at her house and didn't go up. That would have been so cool, though.
I don't know if he got Nick, but he got over it. We had the conversations all right, I have closure. There's also a beautiful thing where he says, hey, do you know who I am? And it's really one of the there's so many cringy moments in these 90 minutes where he keeps saying 4th time, 5th time, do you know who I am? Instead of just saying that it's Bill. And then when he asks June, she immediately knows that it's him. It's oh, she recognizes his voice.
Was nice.
It's that is a really poetic moment.
That was exceptional. And the fact that Nathan was sitting there dying like the rest of us, being like, Bill, you got to tell her who you are. That was all of us sitting in the car beside Bill, begging him to say something normal to Frances, who very generously picked up his phone call and didn't hang up after, the 3rd or 4th? Who is it? But it was great that he somehow decided to do it again, despite it being a terrible first opener. And yeah, June was very sweet. It's really thrown me that Kelly now said that she had a wedding ring on, but
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
That June
We
had a
need to
wedding
find
ring
out if
on?
June was married.
I mean, they went on
Yeah.
a friend date. Like, there was no, I don't think that they were like, that was like a romantic date. So it doesn't bother me, honestly. She
Yeah,
could also be a widow.
like,
Widows don't take their wedding rings off, do they?
I'm not sure, but I feel like sometimes no. I hope that they're just friends or June's a widow and that, it's not a glorious situation. That's all I have to say. And then kind of the actual final scene is that Nathan, he pens this beautiful note via voiceover. And he says, "It's easy to look at someone else's life as a cautionary tale. After all, no one wants to be old and filled with regret. But if you look closer and see that life is filled with moments of sincere joy, however fleeting, it's hard to say if it was really a bad life after all." And then we get the reveal that he's actually flying to go see Macy.
You like it. It's, you got to, you have to sort of like wind up the series. It's a funny bit. Again, like, this is, one of the more scripted parts of it, but it makes sense. Like, it would have been like, why didn't he fly Macy to LA? How much time, one of the questions I would wonder was, they spend so much time in Arkansas. Like, he says it even a few times. Like, this was a long shoot. They must have been there for a long time. I'd love to know how long they were there.
Yeah, it really seems like they were there for a while. I like the way that they tied it all together with the Macy thing. Again, I feel like we need the kind of like weird, like what is real, what's not real going on right at the end there. And I think that the voiceover that he gives is really sweet. And then kind of the twist at the end that he's writing this to Macy and going to see her, I think fits with kind of the rest of the show. It being a comedy after all.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when he and Macy are finally together, they're looking at this, I guess, what used to be a lake, and it's just filled with trucks, which was very funny. Macy mentions, the cameras, and we're all very aware of them. And when the final shot was the drone going up and showing that what we perceive to be this very intimate reunion, a really nice date, they're holding hands again. She remembers his cold hands, and then he asks for the drone shot, and it goes out, and you see all the camera crew around them to show, what, this isn't what it seems. And, we are here filming a TV show, and we get the what is real, what is not. Also, this speech really reminded me in the rehearsal where Nathan is talking to that young singer, really trying to build her up and being like, what, showing up is most of the battle. Like 98%, 99% of other people wouldn't show up and do this. And just by participating and working hard, I liked having that speech of like, you don't be old and filled with regret, live life to its fullest, and moments can be fleeting, and it's, hard to say if it's a bad life after all. Like, go put yourself out there. It's a little bit inspiring.
Yeah, do we all feel inspired?
Definitely. This episode was awesome. Not perfect, but there's so many high highs. It's like such a great piece of television.
Yeah, I mean, it's inspired me to not be Bill.
I really feel like it is such a good like lead into the rehearsal. Kind of like tonally, I feel like it really matches with more so like after the first episode of season 1, and into season 2. But yeah, I mean, it's a wild episode of TV. I cannot imagine. I wasn't watching this live when it came out, but I would love to know what like the immediate response was. I think people immediately enjoyed it.
No, it was euphoric. The response was euphoric. It was like it was on all like the best TV episodes of the year lists. It was an instant classic for sure.
Yeah, it's so different because you watched from episode 1 live, which is so exciting. And we joined in way after the fact. And so all that excitement, which we got to see during the rehearsal, like it was such a different experience watching it with a community of people and getting everybody's live reactions as opposed to looking back. I thought that was really special and really fun.
I'm also curious like what Bill's reaction was to seeing this all put together.
He probably thought he was a star.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I'm sure he loved the attention.
Yeah.
Yes, no question.
I do feel bad that like Macy kind of had to delete her entire like online presence. It seems like people were like relentlessly like messaging her and emailing her.
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of the risk you take.
Yeah, I mean, she knew what she was getting into. I thought maybe she thought it would be like, hey, there would be an interesting like I not that you want the clientele from like a obscure television show, but maybe good PR, and she realized like, oh, this is not good.
But yeah, as kind of a whole, how do we think that this does wrapping up Nathan For You, this series? Because again, it does feel very different. And Meg and I kind of watched this one and the psychic/computer repair episode like back to back. And like the shift for me, at least, going from the computer repair psychic episode to this, like I forgot how different this entire thing feels.
Well, I think something that's really fun about Nathan For You and shows like I Think You Should Leave that have all these different little clips and different little storylines where, you know, we normally do a ranking and we will be doing a ranking of all the different segments. Like one can be so vastly different from the other, but still be so interesting and have a lot of the same elements. We have the quirky side characters. We have going to extreme lengths to accomplish something small and that seems unnecessary, but for this overall bigger goal. So I think we have all those key elements, and it was a really epic way to end what ultimately ends up being the whole series, not just this season, but the whole series. And I really loved it. I watched it again recently and watched it with someone who had never seen it before, and they were literally hiding behind me, like looking through their fingers during moments of it. And it was so exciting to see how cringy and how crazy and, you know, how larger than life this episode can be and how it impacts you when you're watching it. Like you feel embarrassed, you feel so many different things, you feel hopeful, you feel the love that Nathan and Macy might be having. Like you just feel a lot during this episode, and I really loved it.
Yeah, Kiwi, final thoughts on the episode?
It's a really great sort of like climax and conclusion to one of the most like interesting, unique, special TV shows of all time. A lot of shows like don't go out with such a, you know, a bang and like such the thing I like about Nathan, that if I could take like a tenth of a percent of what he does, is like you have to go all out for the bit. I think it's like a good lesson to learn from this is like if you know, sometimes I'll be like, hey, we should learn Swedish just for one episode or something, and like, yeah, not everybody has enough time, and like Nathan's getting paid and this is his full job, but the idea of like we're gonna go through all these elaborate lengths just for one bit is like you know, it works if you're willing to commit to the bit. And you know, I hold that hope that maybe he does another season or episode or something of Nathan For You eventually. He needs some cash, but you know, if he doesn't, it's such a you know, long term it should be viewed as one of the great series finales of all time. I see people putting in like their New York Times top 10, you know, movies. It's not a movie even though it's 90 minutes, that thing that they just released a week or two ago. So it's, you know, I think it will stand the test of time. It'll hold up well.
Yeah, I feel like the rehearsal season 2 has like similar vibes to Finding Frances in that like this was, I'm not sure if it was planned to be the series finale or not. The rehearsal season 2, I'm hoping that it's not the series finale, but if it is, like, you know, the highest of highs that we can really end on with Nathan. So we'll have to see where he's planning to go from there. Where we're planning to go is to rank all of the segments and then cover the curse. So that's our plan. Kiwi, let us know what you're up to. Tell the people where they can find you, where can they follow you, all of that.
Can I jump in first?
Please.
So we're in a unique situation where there's 2 questions we ask our guests. And you've actually heard one of the questions before because when Kelly and Colin got married on your podcast, I wrote a newlyweds game and I included this question in it. But we ask all of our guests, is it cheating if it's with a ghost? And I would love to know your answer.
So we incorporated this, I think, into we asked this to thousands of people when we did the Renap census, right? I don't remember the consensus answer, but I believe we have asked this question, and variations of it also. Is it cheating if I forget what the other things are? Yeah, I think because it's so fake, I think it's not. I think it's not cheating. Like if you believe in ghosts, then it's cheating. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's not cheating. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of different answers. This was born out of Ghost Realtor, I believe, and it's just kind of stuck with us. So do you believe in ghosts? Like if your wife came up to you today and said, hey, I'm so sorry, but I just hooked up with a ghost. how do you feel about it?
It's like a very callous word to you, like hooked up with a ghost. Like,
Sorry, what word would you prefer?
I don't
didn't
know,
how
but
to
hook up,
phrase
I
it.
think, is like a weird, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it sounds
That's
like
not
you're
what I would say.
kind of informal, you and the ghost.
Sorry, what?
I think you have to say, I just had an encounter.
Oh, but there's
Uh,
so many different encounters you could be having. I feel like it needs to be.
I know, but you should keep it vague.
you need to be giving like major eyebrows when you say the word encounter so that you understand what we're saying.
Sure. I'm fine with it. I like call me like whatever. I could hook up with a ghost all you want. God bless.
Okay, and then our next question is from the rehearsal season 2. So you're on a flight, you know that you have your captain and your first officer. Would you prefer if they had kissed before or not?
So the only options are they have kissed or they have not kissed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say not kissed because I feel like they wouldn't necessarily have a husband-wife situation. Now, is it a romantic kiss? Could it be like a dad kissing their son on the head or something, or that you're saying
No,
romantic?
it's a romantic kiss. Yeah.
Because
it's a
if they're
romantic kiss.
exes, like, you know, they could get into a fight and one of them could sort of act erratically. I think it's a hard no. I don't want them to have kissed before. Good question, though.
What would another
Thank
option
you.
have been? You said the only options are kissed or not kissed, but like, what's the other option?
Well, you're saying like to have. I guess I don't know. I guess all people can fall into two categories. You've either kissed them or you
have you
haven't.
kissed or have you not kissed?
That's
Have I
true.
kissed them or not?
It's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
So now we can conclude now that I've gotten that off my chest.
Meg's always here to make sure. Yeah, she wouldn't have been able to sleep tonight. Kiwi, let us know.
Remind me, we'll put that on the next Renap census also if you want
Okay.
a wide range of opinions.
Oh, we
I
would
do
love to.
always.
Yeah. Would you prefer if your pilot and co-captain have kissed or not? It's very important, I think. What about your podcast co-hosts? That's also a good one, honestly, if we wanted to change it up. But
Okay, we're gonna ask that again. Do we think you and Rob would have been better co-hosts if you had like a little?
If we had ever
peck?
kissed, yeah.
If you had, I
There's
mean,
still
if we
time.
could ask you, have you ever kissed?
Maybe that's how we haven't, but you know, maybe that's the 360th, this is the 360th episode, the final episode. Could be Rob and Akiva.
Finding Rob, you go find him in
Mhm.
person and give him a kiss.
I like it. I'll do it.
Okay, we just need Rob and probably Nicole on board.
No, I think it's funnier if he knows that it's the thing, but has no say in the matter. Like, I'm going to find him, just give a smooch on the head, and that's it.
No, it's got to be the lips.
I have to kiss him on the lips? Okay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
it could just be a peck, like Nathan did to Macy on the bed.
Got it. Okay. I could do it.
Okay, I'm glad that we've concluded that.
I feel I should like work this into that thing I'm going to a thing, Kiwi, on Saturday, and the head of content at Wattpad is going to be there, which for any of our listeners who are unaware is a fan fiction website. And I feel like two podcast co-hosts kissing, I feel is a great fan fiction starter.
Oh, do we know that there's not Rob and Akiva fanfic? Like, has that been confirmed?
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be. It was like the first pitch of the show, and we've never seen it.
Yeah, but has someone like just on their own gone
I
off and
can't
written
imagine.
something and uploaded
I doubt it. I would doubt it.
I'll do some research. Don't worry. But Kiwi, let us know what you have going on.
Okay, yes.
Let the people know.
The aforementioned Rob and Akiva Need a Podcast, closing on episode 300. We're only doing 360, so now is, I guess, a good time to join in, binge all 300 episodes. You could hear a bunch, more than 5 of your co-host Kelly White, and Megan is also. How many times have you been on, Megan?
Only once. I'm vying for a second one though.
Okay, we could make that happen. Well, you could definitely be a witness, to the congregation if we can get date Kelly's mom. You could definitely be a character witness there. So that's Robin and Akiva Need a Podcast. 32 Fans podcast is a podcast about sports. Are going to do 32 episodes about 32 NFL teams in 32 days. That starts in a few weeks. Until then, we do silly games. We just did a Sporkle quiz on video today. And we're also counting down the greatest TV shows in history using a list of 132 shows that have been declared the best TV show ever. Mike Bloom came on the last one. It was a lot of fun. And NGOG, New Girl Old Guy podcast, episode by episode rewatch podcast about the television show New Girl with Ali Lasher. We just came out with our third to last episode. That podcast is about to end because we have almost completed the series, but check that out. And at Keeves26 on Twitter.
Amazing. Yeah, everyone go listen. Go Bills for the football fans out there. The 3 of you who messaged me about the Buffalo Bills.
And go Bill Heath.
And go Bills, go Bill Heath. Yeah, he's still kicking as far as we are aware. If anyone wants to follow us on all of our socials, we are at NathanForUsPodcast on TikTok. Send us an email, NathanForUsPodcast@gmail.com. On Instagram, we're at NathanForUsPod. And we will be back next week to talk about ranking everything from season 4.
This has been Kelly and Megan and Akiva on your side.